Sister Wives Kody Brown admits to manipulating and lying. Over the course of 19 seasons, Sister Wives fans have seen Kody Brown behave horrendously toward his ex-wives. In particular, viewers believe Meri Brown received the worst treatment. Some weren't sure if Kody realized how poorly he treated them. But after fans watched him help Meri move to Utah, he openly admitted it. Read on to get the scoop and see what other Sister Wives viewers are discussing. Fans think Kody Brown always knew he was being cruel to Meri. As Kody finished helping Meri settle in, he had an emotional outburst. Few fans felt convinced by his random display of tears, but many more wished Meri took the opportunity to completely shut him down. Meri's missed opportunity, a Reddit user shared online. It was infuriating when Kody apologized for leading her on for 7 years, and then basically retracted it and said he was glad that he did because it allowed him to meet the moment of their final separation with sadness rather than anger. "It makes sense, right?" he says, and Meri says a semi-placating sort of, even though it doesn't. She should have said, "No, it really doesn't. Those years might have helped you, but from my perspective, to think of all the years I sacrificed for you to love me. Wasted." The OP concluded, referencing Kody's infamous knife in the kidney speech. Sister Wives fans wish Meri would have called him out. Overall, most Sister Wives fans agreed the scene was entirely staged. But many felt angry that Kody so openly admitted to treating Meri terribly throughout their marriage. Honestly, all of the wives should have put him in his place sooner than they did. He only sees things from how it affects him. So driving her along with no hope of getting back together as a husband and wife was okay because it gave him time to mourn and be done with her, but to hell with her. His sobbing seemed legit though. I agree they totally set that scene up to have something to film, but his feelings seemed real. Or, I'm gullible as hell. It was so obvious his tearing up and acting out was prompted by the guy showing Meri a smidge of compassion and a side hug. I'm not the entire focus. It's the end of an era. The quiet hum of the cameras filled the room as Kody Brown took his seat on the plush leather couch in Flagstaff. The crew had grown accustomed to his animated gestures and fiery rhetoric, but today his demeanor was different. He wasn't combative, nor did he wear his signature smirk. Instead, his face bore a grim, almost haunted expression. For the first time in the history of Sister Wives, Kody Brown was about to tell the truth, the whole truth. As the producer cued him to start, Kody ran a hand through his golden locks, now streaked with gray from years of stress and turmoil. His breath hitched. "I don't even know where to start," he muttered, his voice devoid of the bravado viewers had come to expect. "But I owe it to everyone to be honest, for once." A lifetime of deception. Kody began by recounting the early days of his plural marriage journey. "I wanted to create something revolutionary," he said, his eyes scanning the floor. "A family united under one faith, one mission. But looking back, I think I was more in love with the idea of control than with the women I married." Cristin, seated on a nearby couch with David Woolley by her side for moral support, raised an eyebrow. It wasn't the first time she had suspected manipulation, but hearing Kody admit it out loud was staggering. Kody sighed deeply and continued, "I always told myself I was doing this for the right reasons, for God, for the family. But honestly, I lied to myself as much as I lied to them." Janelle, ever the pragmatic one, folded her arms. "Give us specifics, Kody," she said firmly, her tone leaving no room for evasion. He nodded, visibly bracing himself. "Okay," he said. "I manipulated your financial independence, Janelle. I made you believe pulling your money into the family pot was for everyone's benefit. But the truth? I used it to secure my own lifestyle. I knew you had dreams of building your own life, and I did everything I could to keep you tethered. I was scared of losing your stability." Janelle's jaw clenched, but she remained silent, her piercing gaze doing all the talking. The puppet strings of polygamy. Kody shifted his focus to Meri, whose stoic expression masked years of pain and disappointment. "Meri," he said softly, his voice tinged with regret. "I lied about my intentions with you too. When our marriage began to deteriorate, I let you believe it was entirely your fault. I pushed you away and blamed your neediness, but the truth is, I stopped trying because it was easier to cast you as the villain." Meri blinked, her lips pressed into a thin line. She had waited years for this acknowledgement, but the words didn't offer the solace she thought they might. "And then there's Robin," Kody said, his tone growing heavier. Robin, seated at the far end of the room, leaned forward, her perfectly sculpted eyebrows furrowing in confusion. "What about me?" she asked. "I lied to you, too," Kody admitted. "I made you believe you were my sanctuary, my saving grace, but part of me knew that putting you on a pedestal would only alienate the others. I didn't just let it happen, I orchestrated it. I needed a scapegoat for the family's fractures, and I let you carry that burden." The children's perspective. The confession didn't end with his wives. Kody turned his attention to the impact his actions had on his children. "I've hurt all of you too," he said, addressing the kids who weren't present, but who he hoped would watch the footage someday. "I manipulated my relationships with you to suit my narrative. When I wanted to appear like the loving father, I showed up for milestones. But when things got hard, I withdrew and made excuses. Garrison, Gabriel, Maddie, I know I've failed you in ways that can't be undone." Cristin wiped a tear from her cheek as Kody's voice cracked. "I spent so much time chasing an image of what our family should be that I've ignored what it actually is," he said. The fallout. The room fell into an awkward silence as Kody finished his confessions. Each wife and ex-wife seemed lost in their own thoughts, weighing his words against years of pain and betrayal. Janelle was the first to break the silence. "So what now, Kody?" she asked, her tone essy but measured. "Are you going to change, or is this just another chapter in the Kody Brown show?" Kody didn't have an immediate answer. For once, the man who always seemed to have a justification, an excuse, or a sermon was at a loss for words. "I don't know," he finally admitted. "But I know I have to try." Cristin exchanged a glance with David, who gave her a small nod of encouragement. "It's not about trying, Kody," she said. "It's about taking responsibility and actually doing the work. Apologies are a start, but actions matter more." Robin, visibly shaken, stood up. "I need some air," she said, leaving the room abruptly. Mary followed her with a lingering gaze but chose to stay. "You've done a lot of damage, Kody," she said, her voice uncharacteristically firm. "But maybe owning up to it is the first step in making things right. For all our sakes, I hope it is." The aftermath. As the cameras stopped rolling, Kody slumped in his chair, the weight of his admissions settling heavily on his shoulders. The room slowly emptied, leaving him alone to contemplate the road ahead. For the first time in years, the cracks in the Brown family weren't just visible, they were acknowledged. Whether Kody's honesty would lead to healing or further division remained uncertain. But one thing was clear. The man who had spent decades crafting a narrative of unity and righteousness was finally facing the truth, even if it meant dismantling the facade he had worked so hard to maintain. And for the women who had endured years of manipulation, perhaps this was the beginning of their freedom, a chance to rebuild their lives on their own terms, no longer tethered to Kody's lies.